The logistics of shooting Formula One is quite tricky, especially when based in Perth, Western Australia. So in this video, let me tell you a little bit about what I'm faced with this year, season 2022, which kicks off in Bahrain. The season kicks off for me in Bahrain with testing, 3 days of it, and they're great. They're 12-hour days, so we get plenty of time with the drivers, we get plenty of action on track, and photographically, it's a very rewarding 3 days. And then there are 3 days between end of testing and the first race, which for us starts on a Thursday being media day and ends on the Sunday, the 20th of March. I'll be staying in the one place the whole time. Then on the Monday, I'll be heading to Jeddah for race number 2, Saudi Arabia. And luckily for us that the visa we got last year covers us for both events. After the race on the 27th of March, I'll be heading back to Melbourne. Now, ideally, I would have loved to have come back to Perth. However, to come back into Perth, I need to do 7 days home quarantine. And quite frankly, I think it's probably better I go to Melbourne direct. After the Australian race, I'll probably go straight to Italy, maybe Milan. Might even do some training with an F1 driver trainer. Hopefully that comes off. Imola is set down for the 24th of April, and I love that race. I think the city is beautiful, small and steeped in history, and I've got a beautiful apartment there. When it comes to airfares, at the moment, I'm okay to Bahrain, Bahrain to Saudi, Saudi to Melbourne. But after that, I've only got a few, and they're mainly the long-haul flights to America and back, South America, because I can get those on points. After Imola, I'll spend a few days and head to Rome and have a look around. Never been there. I thought that might make for some interesting content for you. Then I'm heading off to Miami via Paris. And in Miami, I have an apartment because hotels were crazy prices and very hard to get. And I wanted to stay not too far from the track because I think what's going to happen in Miami is the traffic is going to be horrendous. Booking hotels, I tend to go through hotels.com purely because I get to see all of my bookings in the one app. And there are benefits from booking a lot of nights. Sometimes I book direct with the hotel if there's an advantage, but certainly having one place that aggregates all of your stays, it's very valuable. After Miami, I'll take my time and head back to Dallas, and I've got a flight that I booked. This is the second half of a flight that I booked last year that I haven't used. So I'll head back to Istanbul, then take a flight to Barcelona, where I'll stay at the Hotel 1882. Then there's a Barcelona race. Straight after that, we'll head to Monaco for the most expensive accommodation of the year. And I still don't have anything booked. With some luck, our state premier will allow us to fly back into Australia without quarantining then, so I can head back for the 10 days and then head back to Azerbaijan for round 8. But if not, I'll just hang around somewhere in the south of France and then go to Baku. What about visas? Most of the time, certainly being from Australia, I'm well looked after there. I've got an APEC card, which allows me, importantly, into Russia, China, and one other tricky one, without having to get a visa. This card effectively is my visa, and that saves me a fair amount of mucking around and a little bit of money. Obviously, being accredited with Formula One means that we get invited to all of these countries as part of the media. And while there was a bit of paperwork to do last year, that was primarily because of COVID. But some countries simply say, look, you tell us who the people are that are coming, and we'll put them on a list, and when they get to the country, you simply wave through immigration. Let's move on to round 9. That's in Canada. It's the week after Baku, but after Canada, there's a long break, so I'll probably head to New York and have a look around there, and then I can catch a direct flight New York back to London. The good part about London is it's outside of the Schengen area. Now, I have to be very careful because I only get 90 days in the Schengen countries in 180. And when you join as a member, you get a whole host of freebies like wallpapers. And look what Owen Gale's done with one of my images here. Silverstone is back to back with Austria, so it's a flight to Vienna, and I still don't have any accommodation in Austria. It's one of the toughest places to get good accommodation near the track. And that race is back to back with Budapest, one of my favourite stopovers of the year. And I stay at the Kempinski Hotel because it's right in the heart of the city. And there's a great buzz, and you get hundreds of people each night waiting around for drivers to arrive after the day's activities at the track, which is only a 25-minute drive from the centre of the city. If you're wanting more in-depth information about each track and each race, you're going to love my website. There's a page dedicated to every race, and I think you'll enjoy my insights into those cities. And if you're interested, you can even book F1 experiences packages there. And really, if you're looking for the best possible experience at an F1 race, yeah, you want to get onto F1 experiences. Second half of the year kicks off with a triple header In Belgium, I'm staying near the track at De La Source Hotel, which I love. In the Netherlands, I'll probably stay out at one of the hotels near the airport. They're good value, and the run to the track and back is pretty good. And in Italy, I'll stay at a beautiful apartment that I've stayed at for a number of years now, and it is exceptionally good value. Big, air-conditioned, and downstairs there's a restaurant that is fantastic. What about credit cards? Well, I take a few, but I use one primarily. It's a Bank West card out of Western Australia. The reason I love it is because there is no exchange fee on international transactions. Now, a normal card would have anywhere from 2 to 3% fee on every single transaction. If you travel a lot, you'll want to get one of those. Also carry a debit card for getting cash out, because I don't like swapping cash for cash in foreign currencies because you lose too much on the exchange rate. After Monza, I'll fly to Moscow because I reckon it's one of the greatest places I go to every year. It's such a different culture. To me, it's a bit like Japan, which is way out there. I love the architecture of the city. I love Red Square. The people are great. Food, I think, was probably the best I had all year last year. And then I'll fly to Sochi, which is just okay. Don't love the place. I think next year with St. Petersburg is going to be great. And after that, we're off to Singapore. Haven't been to Singapore for years, and if you go to that race, I'm going to suggest you stump up for a suite that has some air conditioning, because it's hot work and hard work too, especially for us, walking around in that heat in the middle of the day. But of course, the race takes place at night. It starts well after dark. On a couple of you have asked, who pays for my flights? Well, I'm a freelancer, so it's me. I pay for them. It all comes out of my pocket, and the accommodation as well. Clothing wise, I will take, well, if I'm away for the whole year like last year, I think I took about 8 t-shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, 4 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of shoes, plus a jacket, a hoodie, and some underwear. However, traveling so light, it made me very aware that if I saw a pair of shoes that I wanted, if I went and bought them, I had to throw another pair out. And what that forced me to do was to question a lot of my decisions. Do I really need those shoes? Do I really want to throw another pair out? And as a result of that, when I came back to Australia, I cleaned out about half of my wardrobe. I realised I have so much stuff that I never wear and I never needed. A couple of you have asked me about media hotels. Yes, F1 does provide a media hotel in different countries. I've stayed in a couple of them. Most of the time I tend to stay in stuff that I book myself. But accommodation in Japan is particularly tricky. There's not a great deal of quality around the track, and if you stay in Nagoya, you can get some lovely hotels there, but it's a hell of a hike. And if you go by car, it's about 50 Australian dollars in tolls each way, plus you're spending 2 hours on the road. And I've done that once and I wouldn't do it again. So for that race, we accept lesser accommodation and bank the difference in travel time. I booked flights back from Japan to Perth after that race because surely by that time we've finished with this stupid 7 days of quarantine. And then I'll fly via Sydney to Dallas. It's a 17-hour direct flight with Qantas. And then I drive to Austin. And on the way, 2 things I always do: stop at Buc-ee's, which is the most amazing service station I've ever been to. And what's the other thing I do? Oh, I stop at In-N-Out Burger in Waco. The accommodation though in Austin for the Grand Prix, it's hiked up deluxe, but it is a great party city and I quite enjoy it. And then it's off to the Hyatt in Mexico, which is a great hotel. I'll probably do a meet and greet there. In fact, no, I will do a meet and greet, and I'll tell you more about that later in the season. Then we have a weekend off before we head to Brazil, which is a heck of a flight, and then back to Abu Dhabi for the final race of the year. I'll stay mostly in hotels, but I have some Airbnbs and stay at a couple of friends' houses in different cities, which is always a blessing because you get to cook, and that's one of the things I do really miss when I'm on the road, not being able to cook a meal. I will do a number of meet and greets, and those people who have purchased my prints and would like to come down and get them signed, I'm more than happy to do that, and you'll hear more about that later in the year. I'll be doing F1 photo books for big races. So if you go to Silverstone and love your weekend, you'll be able to buy a book of that race only, like I did at the Monza 1-2 for McLaren last year. And you get those at kimillman.com along with a range of merchandise. If you've liked the video, please go and hit the like button, subscribe, join as a member too. You'll find my digital images at prostarpics.com, and for my best images live from the track and all during the week, head to Instagram and search at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. Oh, yesterday, got some great news. The state premier said that we would be opening our borders in early March, which means I don't have to stay away for months and months. I can come back in the long breaks between those races. That's good news.